it's an unlikely place to find laughter. This huge warehouse outside the Syrian capital, Damascus, is where Iraqis who fled here from the violence in their country come to register as refugees. 1.5 million Iraqis have sought refuge in Syria in the past few years. One of the benefits of being officially recognised is that their children can attend Syria's schools. The show isn't just for entertainment.
We have a message, it's a big message for the children, the refugees here. The message is that every children here in Iraqi must go into school.
We have many parents who approach us saying, I heard from the clowns that my child can be enrolled in a school, but my child is not enrolled. What can I do for that?
Syria is the only country in the world where an Arabic person can enter without a visa. So that's why we've had a lot of Iraqis. Children can go to the Syrian schools. They are free of charge for the Iraqis.
There are an estimated 300,000 school-age Iraqi children. But despite basic education in Syria being free, almost 90% of Iraqi children are not enrolled in school.
There are so many reasons why children aren't attending school, but I think what you have to remember, 1 in 5 of the families that have come to us are victims of violence or torture in Iraq. These are extremely traumatized families, and in many instances they've just not been able to move on to a normal state of life where they can actually think about enrolling their children in schools. Many children are now the responsible wage earners in the family. It's the children that are able to get the casual labour types of jobs.
Saida Fifth School is in Saida Zainab, a part of Damascus known as Little Iraq. Although only 10% of Iraqi children in Syria are attending school, Saida Fifth is under severe pressure.
After the American occupation of Iraq, we received a huge number of Iraqi children, refugees whose families were forced to flee here to Syria. In response, we changed to a shift system, running separate morning school and afternoon school, so that we can accept a higher number of children in school. Before the Iraqis came, we used to have between 30 and 35 students in a class. But now some of our classes have many more, 54 in one class. This has caused problems for the teaching.
Children start school in Syria at the age of 6. There used to be 25 children in this Year 1 formal Arabic class. Now there are 43.
For us, teaching 45 students is very different from teaching just 25. You don't have time to listen to all of them if there are 43 pupils in the class, and sometimes you don't have the time to give them enough attention.
The population of Saida Fifth School has more than doubled. The head teacher believes differences between the curriculum in Iraq and Syria are having a serious effect on teaching.
There has been a negative impact on the Syrian pupils in the school because the large number of Iraqi refugees has brought down the general academic level of students overall. It's because when an Iraqi child arrives, he finds we have a different curriculum here, and many have had a big gap in their schooling.
What's the time? o'clock, 3 o'clock, yes. What's the time?
It's 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
يعني بس ممكن تعلمين لحظة.
Some of the Iraqi children have only learnt the English letters, nothing else, so I have to teach them from the beginning. And I ask the parents to help me with the dictation and the writing.
What's the time? Fatmi? Again?
It's 3 o'clock.
The biggest problem we have is with the Arabic language, because in Iraq they don't start writing Arabic until they are 10 years old, while Syrians start learning to write Arabic at the age of 6 in the first year.
أمام الرفوف.
أحسنت يا بطل. إذن يقف البائع أمام الرفوف.
When my daughter first began to go to school here in Syria, the only difference she felt was the accent between Iraqi and Syrian accent, but we could manage that. Her teacher is a very good person. She cooperates with me and with her. Now she can even understand everything they say, even she talks like them and makes comments like them.
Sometimes there is a 4-year difference between pupils in the same class.
When an Iraqi child comes here, having had a big gap between going to school in Iraq and starting school here, I can't just ignore that. Say they were in year 4, they can't go into year 6 just because that is their age. They've missed out on lots of their education and they need to go back to year 4.
من يذكرنا بدرسنا الماضي؟ نعم.
Putting older children with younger children can cause problems.
Of course, we faced lots of difficulties at the beginning of the school year because of often having to put older Iraqi children in with younger Syrian children. The Iraqi children have often suffered psychologically through witnessing violence and were often worn out and depressed.
Iraqi children can arrive at school severely traumatized.
Understandably, many of the Iraqi children used very violent language at first, having been caught up in a war. Some children would scream if they heard a loud voice, or would cry out and get scared if they heard a firework outside.
The psychological problems the children display include fear and aggression, because some of them have witnessed their relatives being killed in Iraq. We deal with the aggression through encouraging friendships and their fears by talking to them and encouraging them to do activities that require courage.
School plays an important role in providing these fragile children with a greater sense of stability.
School is the responsibility of a child. This is the job that the child does in his or her everyday life. And this gives a feeling of reassurance to the child. When a child does not attend school, then the child becomes isolated, has no target in life, and then problems become bigger.
وهذا هو الملك طلع ركب على حصانه وراح رحله لبرات المدينه. إذا كان الملك متعود إنه كل يوم بده يفيق الصبح يلاقي الوزير عم يستناه يعني كان يفضل.
The UNHCR and UNICEF are now running a major campaign to treble the number of Iraqi refugee children attending school.
We're very alarmed by the fact that the majority of Iraqi children are not going to school. This is totally inconsistent with the way life was in Iraq. Over 90% of children were going to school in 2004 in Iraq. And now we know that less than 10% of the refugee population are going to school.
Yeah.
UNHCR-funded community centres run classes after school. aimed at helping Iraqi children adapt to their new Syrian curriculum. Iraqi refugee teachers can't be employed in Syrian schools, so work as volunteers here.
Iraqi children need the help because they have many problems in their schools here. You know, the system of teaching the Arabic language is very different from the system we are used to in Iraq. They teach it in a complicated way too. Because our teachers are from Iraq, they are all Iraqis, they can explain it in an easy way.
يلا سوادس سوادس لا تخلوني أعيط حتى تسمعون لا تتعاركون أنا أطيق قلب.
You know, we are a refugee, just like them. We feeling about them because we have a same miserable situation.
هذا قلنا فصل خريف autumn, yes. Autumn شنو قلنا؟
This support is vital, but conditions in these cramped community centres are far from perfect.
We must help them. We can't say to them we can't accept anymore. Because they're refugee and we're refugee, we can't do that.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
We came to the centre for classes because it's been 3 years we haven't been learning. They're helping me in English and Arabic.
Iraqis are continuing to arrive in Syria and now make up about 10% of the population. If Iraqi children are going to be educated, the teachers here are certain of one thing: Syria's overburdened schools need support.
The international community is not helping Syria as much as it needs to. Syria needs more help.
It's vital other countries help Syria and try to work towards solving the social and economic crisis caused by the Iraqis who've come here.
At the moment, only a tiny fraction of Iraqi children living in Syria are getting an education. And if that doesn't change, the future consequences look bleak.
Iraq's greatest strength is the fact that the majority of the population have a very high level of education. If you look at the refugee statistics that we have, more refugees have completed secondary or university education than have not. But it's a very worrying situation that actually now it's a matter of a few percent that are actually attending school. So there's the risk that an entire generation misses out on their education.
They are Iraqis. When they grow up, they'll be young men or women. They have to go back to their country. If they don't go to school, what we will get? A complete ignorant society, and we cannot build Iraq again. Who will build the country again?